Until the beginning of the 21st century, how did technology affect traditional factors of foreign affairs and geopolitics? Well, in summary, for centuries and millennia, there hardly was any change in most of these factors. The average person during their relatively short lifetime of about 30 to 40 years hardly could notice a difference. Only with the beginning of the scientific revolution in the 16th century, and particularly the Industrial Revolution starting the 18th century and even more so in the 19th century, we see a noticeable change, and then it accelerates and it gets faster and faster, and the level of change and the scale of change becomes dramatic, and it is visible across the globe in all societies. We see this across these factors. I'll just take individual points here in each one of them. Geography. Traditionally, mountain ranges and oceans protected societies, and it was very difficult to move large amounts of people or goods or food over geographical features. It was very difficult to build empires until we had ocean-going ships and railroads, and then could industrialize a lot of our capabilities, and then we went from there. Suddenly we had airplanes, we can reach any point on planet Earth, we can observe in real time what's going on, and in that moment geography becomes much less important. Demographics, again flatlining for centuries during any person's noticeable lifetimes, and it is just the onset of the Industrial Revolution, the scientific advances of medicine, and the ability to protect more people and have surplus energy that could be used to serve people, that allowed us to reduce our mortality rates, and it led to a population explosion. And then when female education caught up, suddenly this flatlined and fertility rates starting dropping. We see that in all societies on planet Earth. And while India is about to replace China as the most populous country right now, and Africa is still growing, we see even their fertility numbers dropping, and we see a flatlining of population growth. The economy, the same thing. We have a fairly flat development, hardly a change visible over decades. Over centuries we see some fluctuations, but not during an average person's lifetime. And all of that again changed only when we were able to cross large distances, to use industrial production mechanisms to scale out production, when we were able to more effectively use raw materials that were close to us, eventually then integrate the global economy, then use digital means, computer means, then digital means to integrate everything even more effectively. And then we see an ever faster increase in economic development. Everything was very slow, flatlining or very slow over centuries. The United States grew very rapidly. China achieved what the US took 150 years, China was able to do in 40 years. And India is coming up. We just see a consistent acceleration. Same thing with military power. Horses were the main means of projecting power over large distances. Gunpowder started changing things, but only with ocean-going ships, then with steam-powered ships, then with railroads, and with new technologies, we started a changing of warfare in a very, very profound way. We see this, that particularly starkly between World War I and World War II, where World War II was decided with totally new kinds of weapons that hardly played any role during World War I. Luckily, we did not have any great power war since then, so we can only speculate on where we ended up now at the beginning of the 21st century. And soft power hardly played any role for people that almost never ventured further away from home than about 20 miles. That was the maximum they could walk, and that was it. And our appeal of foreign societies was very limited. It was limited to our neighboring societies that we could visit or hear stories about. And only when we could visit them, when we actually could travel them, we saw a movement of populations, and then we saw letters coming back and forth. And after that, we saw the ability to visit countries for the first time and come back for the masses. And when that changed in the 20th century, we get more of an appeal that is very specific about the conditions of other countries that we find worthwhile imitating or longing for. And today, at the beginning of the 21st century, we can see all of that in the news and in real time, and technology again was the big change. If you're interested in finding out more about all of this, please visit foreignaffairsforum.org, and particularly the Tectonic Essentials for Foreign Affairs course, where I go into many more details. Thank you very much.